Fraser Valley Bandits, the emeritus Fraser Valley Bandits, now Vancouver Bandits, unfortunately. I worked with them last summer during the regular season, helped out the photographers, helped out the broadcasters with some stats, little anecdotes for the players each week, or, well, actually every game, more or less. So a lot's going on right now in the sports world. We've got World Series. Game 6 is happening tomorrow on Saturday. That's going to be exciting. I'll definitely be trying to watch that. I'm helping my friend Mohammed out with his basketball league as well. There's a lot happening, so we're going to try and grind out as much as we can. See how things go. But for right now, there's really not a whole lot of sports today. Friday, November 4th. There's not. But there is a lot of basketball. So the Golden State Warriors are pretty much resting their entire team today against the New Orleans Pelicans. And this is a little bit concerning for me. The Golden State Warriors are 3-6. They are 0 for 5 on the road, which is even more concerning because they played teams like the Hornets and the Pistons. Last night they lost to Orlando. So the Stars are taking a day off. They're resting. They're relaxing. Okay, sure. The defending champions are taking a little bit of a break because things have been tough. Things are not going the way they want to. Draymond Green talked to the press yesterday, and he said that our team needs to focus on defense, that the only way we're going to get better is if we work together as a team on defense. So there's a few things to talk about here. Number one, if Steve Kerr is the one who's deciding that the team doesn't need to play today, and by the team I mean Steph, Clay, Draymond, and Wiggins. The four of them are not playing tonight in New Orleans. So they're pretty much just going to forfeit the game. I'd be surprised if the New Orleans Pelicans lost. Brandon Ingram is coming back from his concussion protocol. I understand it was concussion. I'm not going to say that it was just load management. But this is extremely dumb and ignorant because, number one, you're in no position to rest your team, okay? You're on the outside of the playoffs looking in. I know it's November. Who cares about the playoffs? But the Golden State Warriors are 0-5 on the road. Which brings me to my second point. You should have rested the team against Charlotte or against the Pistons. And Draymond averages 8 points a game. The guy should not be resting. So he says the team needs to work on defense. They allow 116 points per game. They are top 10 worst. And this is kind of a funny thing because I don't know if you paid attention last season, but the Golden State Warriors, maybe let's throw in the Celtics, the Suns, the Bucks, any other good teams that you guys can think of. Any other good teams, they threw around. And by they, I mean the teams, the coaches, the media. Pretty much you would hear it all the time in interviews. Even the broadcasters would say, they would throw this term around so effortlessly. These guys have the top-rated defense. And this kind of became a joke, especially towards the end of the season, when you can accurately compare every team and you can deduce whether or not you can literally look at a larger scale population so that you can conduct what's necessary to legitimately claim that your team, based on all analysis that you have at your disposal, this team is top rated defense. So what does all that mean? What is it? Who cares? Well, the Golden State Warriors probably in the next few months are going to throw that useless word around and expect it to mean anything. But this all doesn't really matter. I don't care about I don't care about their defense. I don't care that they're 3-6. Frankly, who cares? The team is going to figure it out. It's a lot more of a competitive Western Conference, I think, this year than it probably was last year. A lot of the good teams that don't perform well in the playoffs, like the Suns and the Mavericks and the Clippers, they're doing well, I suppose. No one's really worried about the Warriors. Sure, they're going to talk about them because the Warriors are very popular, but this really does come back down to the whole load management thing, which is what we're going to get into a little bit today. So, Brian Robinson, running back for the Washington Commanders, as some of you may know, you don't even need to follow the NFL to know that this guy is a rookie, and he was expected to be the starting running back for the Washington Commanders football team beginning this season. In August, he was shot multiple times in the leg, and he returned to play 6 weeks after. So week 5 in the NFL, which was about a month ago, he has returned to practice. And if Brian Robinson was in the NBA, he'd probably be out for at least 36 months, I'd say. So Jimmy Butler, Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Seth Curry, Anthony Edwards might play tonight, but Ben Simmons, these are just some notable players who are all on the load management train right now. If it's an injury like tightness or a non-COVID related injury, I don't know if I can take some of these seriously because there isn't really a whole lot that we can generate from this kind of a description. So what can we say? What can we say? Okay, a non-COVID illness, he's not playing. Sure, it sounds very general. But these don't sound serious at all to me. There really isn't much of an excuse these guys have to kind of conjure to explain what's going on. I don't know if it's the doctors or the coach or the players. I have a feeling that the players decide ultimately if they want to play or not. But that certainly shouldn't be the case, especially if the coach, if you're a prominent player, the coach is going to put you in. I feel really bad for Victor Oladipo because he was under a little bit of a curious case earlier this season, and by extension, probably just a couple weeks ago, nobody had no idea what was going on with this guy. So pretty much, he's had a lot of injuries in the last 4 seasons, which I feel really bad about because he can't really. I mean, like I know what it means to be injured and to not be able to do the thing that you love to do. And I'm pretty sure he feels that way. He feels like I can't establish myself in any sort of rhythm, in any sort of offensive rotation. Fortunately, I'm still on the Miami roster, even though there isn't a whole lot of accountability. Apparently, he has left tendinosis. I mean, man, it must be really hard for this guy to just. It seems like it's just going on forever, you know. In non-load management news, there's a few things going on around the NBA. Miles Bridges is not with the Hornets due to alleged assault, currently pleading non-guilty in Los Angeles Supreme Court. ESPN Baxter Holmes reports on that. But there's this one pretty funny story that I found. Apparently, there's this guy named Romeo Langford. He plays for the San Antonio Spurs. And he's out because he has a sore toe. That's all. If you're going to read a very, very short description, which is essentially all the reporting that you get on some of these players and their injuries, that's all you have to work on. Like, you're getting a little bit of information. You just have to kind of expand on that to kind of figure out, okay, what's actually going on here. And his teammate Keldon Johnson is also out with tightness. Man, tightness, the kryptonite of the NBA, huh? I understand tightness. I really do. I lift weights. So I'm tight all the time. I'm tight right now. I'm tight every single day. Tight or not, tight or no tight, your tight end has to perform whether he's tight or not. The principle here is we're suggesting that these players are better off to just rest rather than to play so that they avoid further injury. But by extension, what we're actually saying is that the best thing for these players to not play is to not play. That's the principle here. We're gonna pretty much sit them out most of the season so that they don't sit out the entire season. In a more general sense, More undignified shenanigans out in San Antonio. Josh Primo being sued by a former team psychologist for exposing himself. Hillary Cawthon. This stuff is just. It's complete evil that these things are happening. Josh is not even 20 years old yet. His birthday is in December. And this is probably not going away from him anytime soon. I mean, let's be honest. Like this kind of stuff is going to is going to just linger around for him. Nobody knows I didn't know who Josh Primo was. I don't know if you knew who Josh Primo was. I think I remember him at the draft. But this isn't going away. This is going to stick with him for a minute and a half. He is going to be this guy, whether whether he can recover from this such that he's becoming a valuable member of the NBA, of the Spurs, pardon me, like later on in his career, and we all just kind of forget about this stuff. It's just so unfortunate that these things are happening, but obviously there's no excuse for this absolutely moronic behavior. And to go even further, I think that this kind of behavior is celebrated and praised in society for treating women with no regard. This is just a cultural thing now for young men in America. Social issues seldom were a part of the NBA, but now it's like they're just constantly like rampant now in the what's going on with some of these players. And once again, we're going over to Brooklyn now as we see KD's alone again because Kyrie's out, and I almost said Harden's out. Harden is out, just not on the Nets. Simmons is out. Yeah, so KD is out playing. He's out doing good for his team. That's the only thing that he's out doing. But Kyrie, he started his tenure with the Nets without KD, but that was only for 25 games. It was kind of like when LeBron joined the Lakers, his first season, he just kind of dipped out, faked an injury. I don't want to play with Ingram and Lonzo, respectfully, But I've said this since the start of the season. Kyrie should just retire. He doesn't care about basketball. That's completely self-evident. And it's getting more and more objective that the guy has so many other things that he would rather do. Simmons is out. Kyrie is suspended. The Nets are eating themselves up. Kevin Durant said that I think it was all unnecessary. I think we could have kept playing basketball and kept quiet as an organization. He then clarified on Twitter saying, I don't condone hate speech or anti-Semitism. I want our game to unite people. Obviously, some people could easily have misinterpreted this, which is what usually happens. That's why he clarified it on Twitter, because he was literally just being given an interview during a practice when he said these things. Hey, Kevin, quickly, your thoughts on Kyrie? Should he be suspended? What's going on? Why do the Nets suck? Man, I can't imagine doing that. But this is just a result of the power that social media has with players and teams, the NBA. I don't think. Whatever Kyrie said, I don't think it probably would have helped him if he reworded it, but he probably didn't proofread it or anything. He doesn't have these these millionaire professional famous athletes. They don't have wordsmiths to proofread their tweets, so they're kind of just out there. How much do you want to bet that these guys tweet mostly when they're on the can? It does blow my mind that this stuff happens. Players' careers can be ended, their team's season. And this is all happening by this stupid, inconsequential, technological medium that serves no purpose for professional athletes to conduct their job requirements whatsoever. And the ramifications of this are not currently happening. It's all further down the road. It's just, I feel like I bring this up all the time on this show, is that the compartmentalization in sports is so self-evident in all of these occasions. It all happens later. These things, they say, these things affect their players' jobs, as it should. However, there's no excuse for being selfish or ignorant. You want to say this, whatever comes to you that you think is a good idea with millions of people watching, just begging to take you out of context and to ruin you. So there's really no, this isn't worth it. It's not. If you want to go into media, interview people, have a show, report, do all of these things, but your job and your profession is to play basketball, but most of the time this isn't even the most important thing. There's so many other things that you need to do, which you are encouraged to do, but not when you're on the clock. be a part of something, care about other things, but be smart about it.